You know, some people hate being dragged off to IKEA by their wives to go shopping. Me, I love it because I've got one rule. If I'm going to go to IKEA, I get Swedish meatballs. I love the Swedish meatballs. Here, well, this isn't exactly IKEA, but these are Swedish meatballs with Parmesan mashed potatoes. So you got the Parmesan and the mashed potatoes. And you get the meatballs with lots of creamy sauce. Well, it ain't going through the shopping at IKEA, but this is fantastic. You can eat it at home. All right, let's go in the kitchen and make this right now. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get our potatoes going. We're going to be making mashed potatoes. I've got a bunch of water boiling over here already. And what I have here is 2 pounds or 900 grams of potatoes. Now, I scrubbed them because I like a little rustic mashed potatoes, but you can either scrub them or peel them and then cut them into about, 3/4 of an inch or two, about 20 millimeter size pieces. And they're going to go into the boiling water and we're going to cook them for about 20 minutes. All right, that's started. So while that's cooking, let's make the meatballs. All right, now for the meatballs. What we've got here is 1 pound or 450 grams of ground meat. In this case, I'm using the usual my favorite mix, which is like a bit of half pork and half beef. But you could use beef, you could use pork, you could use lamb. It's up to you. Here I've got a half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. I've got a third of a cup of milk, 1 egg, a half teaspoon each of pepper and salt, and then for cooking, 2 tablespoons of butter. So let's get a big bowl in here. We'll toss the meat into there. Sure we get it all in there. And then we're going to mix the salt and pepper into that. And the panko breadcrumbs. So basically all the dry ingredients are going to go into here right now. Just get them mixed together first before we add in the wet ingredients. Just got to distribute everything. There. Using my favorite plastic spatula, just kind of chop through here. All right, now I'm going to toss in that egg. And I just want to blend that in. So chop, 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 chop. Now in goes the milk. I'm just going to mix that around, let the panko breadcrumbs suck that up a bit. There we go. Now it's going to be really easy to roll this into meatballs. Look at that. That is all come together really nicely. You want to get it so it's just like this, kind of like a paste. Okay, now we're ready to start rolling into meatballs. So, first thing we want to do, I'm going to put a plate out here that you can place the meatballs on. And remember, I think I showed you before, this trick is that to really make it easy for cleanup and all, in fact, removing the wedding ring is one of the things. Put your hands into some water, get them wet, and it's so much easier to clean up afterwards. And now just start rolling. I like rolling into small meatballs, about 1 inch or 25 millimeters, just like that. Cooks nicely, spreads nicely over top of the mashed potatoes. All right, let's just roll a whole bunch of meatballs. All right, that's the last of the meatballs rolled. Now, because my hands were already wet, it's going to be really easy to clean them. Oh yeah, comes right off. So that's one thing always remember. Always wet your hands before you roll the meatballs. It just makes it so much easier. All right, what we're gonna do now is start a frying pan up, medium heat, get that butter melting, and then those meatballs are gonna go in there. In the meantime, those potatoes are cooking nicely over there. This is gonna be a fantastic meal. All right, the butter is melted, so in go the meatballs. I'm gonna cook these meatballs, stirring, rolling around occasionally for 10 minutes, lightly brown them, and then we'll be back and we're gonna make the sauce. All right, let's get these guys in there. There you go. All right, just stirring around gently because you don't want to break up the meatball. And I'll see you in 10 minutes. So those meatballs have now been cooking on medium for 10 minutes. Turn around a little bit, spun around, they're all looking nicely brown. What we want to do now is we need the frying pan to make the sauce. So we're going to take the meatballs out of there temporarily. They're going to go back in again after, so let's kind of scoop them out onto a plate for right now. Going to keep the rest of that butter in there. What I've got here is a 1/4 cup of butter, and I have quite a bit in there, so depending on how much butter is left, I might only use about half of that. So I'm going to put about half in there. Yeah, about right there would be good. Get that melting. We've already got, see, we've got this beautiful brownness in here. That's going to add to our sauce. And then I've got a 1/4 cup of flour. That's going to go in there. A 1/4 teaspoon of pepper and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And just going to mix that around a bit. Just going to brown that flour just a little bit. So I'm going to turn that heat down just a bit now. Don't want it to burn. And see, that's just the right amount of butter. It should be so that it's not too runny, so that the flour and the butter kind of form a little bit of a paste like this. That's why we don't need all of that butter. But if your meatballs have soaked up a lot of butter, then you want to use more. So in this case, we used about 2 tablespoons. Okay, I'm just going to cook that just a little bit. Just kind of let that. We basically want to cook the rawness off the flour. So about 1 minute, stirring occasionally, letting it bubble away like that. Now, what we have here is we have 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Now, it's not the Dijonnaise, that's the Dijon mustard, the stronger mustard. And that's going to go in there. I have here is 3/4 cup of heavy cream, that's 35% or more. And then I've got 1.5 cups of milk. So that's looking pretty good. Let's get that mustard in there, mix that in. Mustard is going to give it a little bit of extra bite to the flavor. And get off to one side. Mix that in. And now while I'm stirring, I'm going to pour in the milk. Not all at once, just kind of slowly like this. And keep stirring. More. Just want to keep it from lumping up. Just keep going. Keep stirring, mixing it together. That's looking good like that. In goes the rest of the milk. Now I'm just going to stir that around. Make sure that you get it all nice and smooth and even, no lumps. You can use a whisk for this. I don't like using a whisk in my ceramic pan here because I don't like marking it up. So I just work a little bit more with the wooden spatula here. But you could just whisk that too, and that'll bring it together faster. Okay, now that's all looking good. We've got, basically get all the lumps out first before you add in the cream. All right, that's looking good. In goes the cream. Now I'm going to let that simmer until it starts to thicken. That could be 5, could be 10 minutes. Depends on the heat. You don't want this too hot. We don't want to burn this, so we're going on a medium-low. And once it starts to thicken a little bit, then the meatballs are going to go back in again. All right, let's come back when that's thickened up and we got the meatballs in there. All right, that's been cooking for about 5 minutes. You can see it's thickening up nicely. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the meatballs back in there, and then we're going to make the mashed potatoes. See, all this can be done together. It's going to be doing one thing while something else is happening. Makes it really easy to make a nice dinner. All right, so get out to one side there. All right, so just going to coat those. Get them all in that sauce. Oh, that is going to be absolutely delicious. Now I'm just going to let that simmer. And what we're going to do, I've drained the potatoes. They've been cooking for 20 minutes. Whoa, steaminess. All right, get that off to one side. What I've got here to go into the potatoes is a half a cup of butter. That's all going in there. Mix that around, get that melting. And then I've got my masher here. This is a fantastic solid masher I picked up in Switzerland a long time ago. Love it. You can probably find online somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly where, but so you see my potatoes are rusty because I've left the skins on. I'm going to mash them up, and then I'm going to add in this cream. Ooh, that's just going to make it creamy. And what happens is the potatoes just soak up that extra cream and all. At first it's going to be really runny, but then it's slowly going to soak right in. Finish mashing. Whoa! All right, that's all looking pretty good now. Still soupy, but yeah, we've got some more face. Look at it. Very good. All right, in goes the Parmesan cheese, and that is 3 ounces or 85 grams of Parmesan cheese, grated. And it's actually easier to mix that without the masher now. We'll just use our wooden spoon and just mix that in. All right, nice Parmesan cheese mashed potatoes. Look at that. Now that's a little runny still right now, but let that sit for a couple minutes. And what happens is the potatoes just kind of absorb more of that liquid. So I'm just going to put that on there, keep the heat in. This is looking ready. Turn that heat off. All right, Swedish meatballs with Parmesan mashed potatoes, ready to serve. Enjoy. It's a fantastic meal. Now, if you go to the link appearing on the screen and also clickable in this video's description, you can download and print out this recipe from the Main Dishes Recipes booklet on Kuma's Kitchen's Patreon page. Just click the featured tag called Recipes. Now, go print out the recipe and enjoy Swedish meatballs with Parmesan mashed potatoes. And make cooking fun again with Kuma's Kitchen.